Have you ever had a dream about someone you hadn't seen or even thought about for years, only for that same person to suddenly call you, send you a message, or unexpectedly appear in your life just hours or days later? Most people call it a coincidence. Others believe it's fate. But Carl Jung believed that some coincidences may carry a deeper psychological meaning. He called this phenomenon synchronicity, not because one event magically causes another, but because two seemingly unrelated events can sometimes feel deeply connected in a way that changes how we see reality. Think about it. Why would someone you've completely forgotten suddenly appear in your dream? Why does their face feel so real, their voice so familiar, and their presence so powerful that you remember the dream even after waking up? Then only a short time later, your phone rings, you see their name, or you unexpectedly cross paths with them. Was it just chance? Or was your unconscious mind trying to tell you something? Carl Jung spent years studying dreams. He believed that dreams are not random movies created by the brain. They are messages from the unconscious mind. Messages that often reveal emotions, memories, and connections we don't notice while we're awake. Sometimes the unconscious notices patterns long before the conscious mind does. That's why certain dreams can feel strangely real. Not because they predict the future, but because they reveal hidden connections that your conscious mind has ignored. Think about how many times you've suddenly remembered someone you hadn't thought about in years, without any reason. Then somehow, that same person appears in your life again. Experiences like these have fascinated people for centuries. Some call them destiny. Some call them intuition. Others believe they are messages from the universe. Carl Jung didn't claim that dreams could magically predict the future. Instead, he suggested that the unconscious mind may perceive connections that our conscious awareness completely misses. Your mind is constantly collecting tiny details, memories, emotions, and patterns that you never consciously notice. Sometimes those hidden patterns rise to the surface through dreams, whether it is pure coincidence or a meaningful connection. One thing is certain, these moments often leave a deep emotional impact that stays with us for years. Perhaps the real mystery isn't whether dreams can predict the future, but whether the unconscious mind understands more about reality than we realize. In this video, you'll discover Carl Jung's theory of synchronicity, the psychology behind meaningful coincidences, why certain people suddenly appear in our dreams, and what these extraordinary experiences may actually reveal about the hidden power of the human mind. Don't skip a single second, because by the end of this video, you may never look at your dreams, coincidences, or reality the same way again. To understand why certain dreams feel so powerful, we first need to understand how the unconscious mind works. According to Carl Jung, your unconscious never truly forgets. Every conversation, every face, every emotional experience you've ever had leaves a trace deep within your mind. Even when you believe you've completely forgotten someone, your unconscious may still remember every feeling connected to them. This is why a person can disappear from your life for years, without ever disappearing from your unconscious. Most of the time, those hidden memories remain silent. But sometimes, a specific emotion, a familiar place, a song, or even a smell can awaken them without you realizing it. Then during sleep, your unconscious begins connecting memories in ways your conscious mind never could. Jung believed that dreams are symbolic. They don't simply replay the past. They reveal what your inner mind is trying to process. Sometimes the person in your dream isn't only representing themselves. They may represent an emotion, a lesson, a part of your own personality, or an unfinished chapter that your mind is still trying to understand. This is why dreams often feel confusing at first. They speak through symbols rather than direct answers. But what makes the mystery even more fascinating is what sometimes happens after the dream ends. You wake up, you continue your normal day, then suddenly, your phone rings, you open social media, and the same person appears. Or you unexpectedly meet them somewhere you never expected. Moments like these are exactly why Jung became fascinated with synchronicity, not because he believed dreams magically predict the future, but because meaningful coincidences often seem too emotionally connected to ignore. Jung suggested that reality may contain patterns we don't consciously recognize. Our unconscious mind is constantly collecting information, reading emotions, recognizing behaviors, and connecting experiences long before our conscious mind notices them. Perhaps your mind has been paying attention to subtle details that you never consciously noticed, a forgotten memory, a familiar feeling, or a hidden emotional connection may quietly return through a dream before you fully understand why it appeared. Perhaps that's why certain dreams feel different. They leave behind an emotion that refuses to disappear, an emotion that quietly prepares your mind to notice something you would otherwise ignore. Whether you call it intuition, coincidence, or synchronicity, one thing remains true. Some dreams stay with us because they touch something much deeper than memory. They remind us that the human mind may understand far more than we consciously realize. And this is only the beginning of what Carl Jung believed about the mysterious connection between dreams, coincidence, and the unconscious mind. Now comes the question that fascinated Carl Jung the most. Why do some coincidences feel so meaningful that they become impossible to forget? Imagine this. You dream about someone you haven't seen in years. You wake up feeling strangely emotional. You can't explain why. Then later that day, your phone suddenly rings. It's that person. Or perhaps you walk through a crowded street and unexpectedly see them standing right in front of you. Most people would simply say, "What a coincidence." But Jung believed that some coincidences carry psychological meaning beyond pure chance. He called these moments synchronicity, not because invisible forces are controlling your life, but because an inner psychological event and an outer real-life event sometimes appear connected in a way that feels deeply meaningful to the person experiencing them. Jung didn't argue that dreams magically predict the future. Instead, he believed the unconscious mind may recognize patterns long before our conscious mind becomes aware of them. Think about how much information your brain processes every single day. Faces, voices, small emotions, tiny details you never consciously notice. Your unconscious stores far more information than you realize. Sometimes, a dream may bring those hidden patterns together before your conscious mind understands their significance. Then, when something similar happens in real life, the experience feels almost impossible to ignore. What makes these experiences unforgettable isn't only the coincidence itself, it's the emotion that comes with it. In a single moment, you begin questioning everything you thought you knew about chance, memory, and the hidden power of your own mind. You replay the dream again and again, searching for answers. Was your unconscious trying to prepare you? Or did your mind simply recognize a connection that only became obvious afterward? Perhaps the real purpose of these moments isn't to predict the future at all. Perhaps they exist to make us pay attention, to remind us that beneath our everyday thoughts lies an unconscious mind that is constantly observing, connecting, and remembering far more than we ever realize. That possibility alone is enough to make these experiences unforgettable. Perhaps that is why these moments leave such a powerful emotional impact. Not because they prove something supernatural, but because they remind us that the human mind is still full of mysteries science has not completely explained. Some people experience this only once. Others describe it happening many times throughout their lives. Whether you believe it is intuition, synchronicity, or simply an extraordinary coincidence, one thing remains true. These experiences make us question how much we really know about our own minds. And perhaps the greatest mystery isn't the dream itself, but why your unconscious chose that person, that moment, and that exact memory before reality seemed to catch up. There is one idea in Carl Jung's psychology that makes experiences like these even more fascinating. He called it the collective unconscious. Unlike your personal unconscious, which contains your own memories and emotions. The collective unconscious is made of universal psychological patterns shared by all human beings. Jung believed that deep beneath our individual experiences, there is a layer of the mind that connects us through common symbols, emotions, and archetypes. This doesn't mean people can secretly read each other's thoughts, but it may explain why complete strangers sometimes have similar dreams, why certain symbols appear across different cultures, and why some people enter our lives with an emotional intensity that feels impossible to explain. Think about someone who suddenly appears in your dreams after years of silence. Perhaps it isn't simply because you randomly remembered them. Perhaps your unconscious is trying to complete an emotional story that was never fully understood. Dreams rarely speak in direct words. They communicate through symbols. A person from your past may not only represent themselves, they may represent a lesson you still need to learn, an emotion you never fully accepted, or a part of yourself that has been forgotten over time. That is why Jung encouraged people to pay attention to their dreams instead of ignoring them. Not because every dream predicts the future, but because every meaningful dream reveals something about the dreamer. Sometimes the person you see in the dream isn't the message, they are simply the messenger. The real message is hidden much deeper, perhaps inside an emotion you have avoided, a fear you never faced, or a memory your unconscious refuses to let disappear. The more honestly you examine your dreams, the more you may begin to notice patterns that have always been there. Dreams often repeat the same emotions until we finally understand what they are trying to reveal. They invite us to look inward instead of searching for answers only in the outside world. This is why two people can experience the same event, yet only one of them has a dream that changes the way they see life forever. The difference is not the event itself. The difference is what their unconscious mind is trying to reveal. Maybe that is the real meaning behind these extraordinary experiences. Not proving that something supernatural has happened, but reminding us that the human mind is far deeper than we usually imagine. And perhaps, the next time someone unexpectedly appears in your dreams, instead of asking, "Why did I dream about this person?" ask yourself a different question. What is my unconscious trying to show me through them? Because according to Carl Jung, the greatest mystery has never been the dream itself. The greatest mystery has always been the mind that created it. After everything Carl Jung discovered about dreams, he reached one conclusion that still challenges the way we think today. The true purpose of a dream is not to tell you what will happen tomorrow, but to reveal something about yourself that you cannot yet see while you're awake. That changes everything, because instead of asking, "Will this dream come true?" Jung believed a better question is, "Why did my unconscious choose this dream?" Think about the people who suddenly appear in your dreams. Perhaps they are not returning because they are thinking about you. Perhaps they appear because your unconscious has connected them to an emotion that still needs your attention. Maybe they remind you of unfinished love, a painful goodbye, a lesson you never accepted, or a version of yourself that no longer exists. Dreams rarely point toward another person. More often, they point back toward you. That is why two people can dream about the same individual, yet wake up with completely different emotions. Because the dream is shaped by the dreamer's unconscious, not by the person appearing inside it. Jung believed that every meaningful dream offers an opportunity to understand yourself better, to heal emotional wounds, to recognize hidden fears, and sometimes to discover strengths you never knew you possessed. Perhaps that is why some dreams stay in your memory for years, not because they predict the future, but because they reveal a truth your conscious mind wasn't ready to accept. The more attention you give to your dreams, the more you begin to understand the language of your own unconscious. Over time, you may notice that certain symbols, certain people, and certain emotions appear again and again. They are not repeating by accident. They return because your mind believes there is still something important you have not fully understood. Every meaningful dream invites you to look deeper into yourself instead of searching for answers only in the outside world. The greatest mistake is waking up, ignoring the dream, and continuing life as if nothing happened. Instead, take a moment to ask yourself what emotions stayed with you after waking up. Fear? Peace? Regret? Hope? Because that emotion may be the real message your unconscious is trying to deliver. And perhaps, the next time someone unexpectedly appears in your dream, don't rush to ask whether they will call you tomorrow. First ask yourself, what part of me does this person represent? Because according to Carl Jung, the answers we spend our lives searching for in the outside world often begin deep inside our own unconscious mind. And maybe that is the greatest mystery of all. Not why certain people suddenly appear in our dreams, but why our own minds choose them to reveal the truths we have been unable to see while awake. If you've watched this video until the very end, you've probably realized that the greatest mystery was never whether dreams can predict the future. The greatest mystery has always been the human mind itself. Carl Jung believed that dreams are not random. They are meaningful messages from the unconscious. Messages that invite us to understand ourselves more deeply. Sometimes those messages come through symbols, sometimes through forgotten memories, and sometimes through people we haven't seen in years. Whether that person calls you the next day, appears unexpectedly, or never returns at all. The most important question remains the same. What did this dream reveal about you? Because every meaningful dream is an opportunity to heal, to grow, to understand emotions you've ignored for years, and to discover parts of yourself that have been waiting to be seen. Perhaps that's why certain dreams stay with us long after we wake up. Not because they prove something supernatural, but because they change the way we understand ourselves. The next time someone suddenly appears in your dream, don't rush to search the internet for a prediction. Instead, take a quiet moment. Ask yourself what emotion the dream left behind. Ask yourself why your unconscious chose that person. Sometimes the answer isn't about them. Sometimes the answer has been inside you all along. Carl Jung reminded us that the deepest discoveries are rarely found in the outside world. They begin within, inside your memories, your emotions, your unconscious mind. Dreams are not meant to control your future. They are meant to help you understand your present. The better you understand your unconscious, the better you understand yourself. And when you understand yourself, you begin making different decisions. You stop repeating the same emotional patterns. Little by little, you become more aware of who you truly are. Perhaps that is the greatest gift dreams can offer. Not certainty about tomorrow, but clarity about today. And perhaps the greatest lesson of all is this. The more you understand your own mind, the less you fear the unknown. Instead of searching for answers outside yourself, you begin discovering them within. That journey, according to Carl Jung, is where real transformation begins. Maybe the next meaningful coincidence you experience won't simply make you wonder about destiny. Maybe it will inspire you to understand your own mind more deeply than ever before. Thank you for staying until the end. If you enjoyed this video and want to discover more about Carl Jung, dreams, psychology, and the hidden power of the unconscious mind, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next journey into the mysteries of the human mind. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.